How's it hanging, dudes? My name is Sean and welcome back to another Jurassic World Evolution. Okay, so I've been doing a little bit of thinking and I've been listening to a few of the devs. I've been going back over some interviews and seeing what they say. And well, as far as a hatchery goes, there may be some complications, there may be some tricks involved, and there may be some helpful hints to I guess better help you utilize your hatchery to the best of your ability. Before we get too far in, go ahead and smack a like. Subscribe if this is your first time to the video. Hit the notification bell because we're uploading dinosaur vids left and right, Jurassic World Evolution videos left and right, and you definitely don't want to miss it. Before we dive too deep in, tomorrow I will have a prehistoric kingdom video coming out. So I hope you guys like that. We gotta give ourselves a break on the evolution videos every once in a while, or we'll just run out of ideas because there is only so much out there so far. And if you guys want to drop some ideas, feel free to head in that comment section. I'm there after every single video, and I would love to kick around some ideas and see what we can get started. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump right in. So the hatchery, like I was saying, some developers have different ways on how they utilize their hatchery, right? Because it's a money time management type game. So you can have a hatchery for every single enclosure. If you have just trike enclosure or just a Apatosaurus enclosure, you can have a hatchery just for that. But that will also get kind of expensive to upkeep, and if you have a hatchery for every single enclosure on every single island, you'll be bleeding money. So a lot of people will just have just one hatchery, and they'll release all the dinosaurs into that one holding pen, and then trank them and then take them to their initial enclosure, right? That's pre-made for them, instead of having to waste a bunch of money on all these different hatcheries. Okay, which also takes resources. Okay, so that being said, I think that I have found a decent way to utilize your hatchery to the best of your ability, so you don't have to have a bunch of hatcheries, and then that way you don't have to worry about, let's say you have 2 islands or even one larger island, and you got a lot going on and a lot of notifications are popping up, and it's easy to forget that you have some dinosaurs that are released in certain pens, and maybe with one hatchery, with you just having one hatchery starting out, not having as much money to go ahead and place a bunch of different hatcheries, or even if you don't want to. There's going to be times where you're going to have carnivores with herbivores, and that's not good, right? Even some other carnivores will fight each other, which is cool because the dinosaurs will maintain their scratches, their marks, and as they go further, they will look more brutal and more awesome, which would be a better attraction for your guests, which would be really cool. But anyway, we're getting off on a tangent here, on a side track. So what we can do is, depending on the limits of the game, let's say you have a holding pen, you have your hatchery attached to it, and as you can see in the image I have up right here, let's say you want to build a pen inside of your holding pen, right? Let's say you want to have 2 different areas, one for carnivores and one for herbivores, and they're split. They can't get to each other, they're separated off by a fence. But before you get to those enclosures, straight out of the hatchery gates, there's going to be a smaller containment pen that's going to have 2 doors, right? And if you have one door connecting to the carnivore holding pen, and then a herbivore holding pen, before you trank them to their regular locations, their nice little habitats if you got pre-made for them. This is a way that you can keep them separate using the same hatchery, and not have to worry about them intermingling or killing each other, and then you have to worry about a dead carcass that has disease and it's festering with all your other animals that are in their holding pens, and then of course a carnivore can be terrorizing all of your herbivores. Like, you can do multiple herbivores and let them run off in their own enclosures, and then you can have let's say a big carnivore pen, and you can just make sure that you have one carnivore in there at a time, or a couple, 2 or 3, and then trank them wherever they need to go. And you never have to worry about them trying to get to the herbivores or anything like that. Eventually, once you have fence upgrades, it'll be smart to make sure you have the most upgraded fence for your holding pen, because with the carnivores seeing the herbivores, they're going to want to get after them. And as we all see in the trailer, they can break the fences, and we don't want that to happen. And so if you can have your hatchery set up this way, not only will you save money, time, and I guess stress managing this whole thing, you won't have to have so many hatcheries. You can really get by with just one on each island, and you'll have a holding pen. And naturally, that's how it would be. You know, if you're actually having a Jurassic World on your own island, you wouldn't have a whole bunch of hatcheries. You would have one main hatchery that would have like all the resources and all the tools necessary that it needs, and that way you wouldn't have to focus a lot of man hours on that. You'd be able to you wouldn't have to have a bunch of notifications popping up on screen of all your different hatcheries. Oh, this hatchery is coming up, this hatchery is coming up, oh, you gotta release this dinosaur, you gotta release this dinosaur. If you did that, they would all be from one hatchery into your containment pen, and then you can deal with them later. You see how much easier that would be, as opposed to, you know, just letting them go in there willy-nilly. Like you can see on plenty of people's, like Riot, for example, on his Jurassic World Evolution, you know, his 40 odd minutes that he got to upload from LA, you can see that, you know, when he let his Ceratosaurus run around with just a smaller Suchomimus, it just ate it up instantly, just gone. And then that was money. And you gotta think, these dinosaurs are not cheap, so when dinosaurs die like that, you actually feel the impact. There is no more, that attraction's not there anymore. And if this is your first Suchomimus, well, boom, now you have one less dinosaur, right? So it can definitely get stressful, and you have to over management if you only have one hatchery, and you might not have enough money to just be placing down hatcheries left and right, especially if you want to do this game for longevity and do it right and do it realistically. There's plenty of other things too that could be, I guess, better utilized, or different ways you could possibly do stuff. Like the developers have talked about even building up a ramp next to your pen, that way you can get in the Jeep and just ramp over your fence without ever having to get into the helicopter to trank them. You can trank them from the Jeep, right? So that'd be kind of cool. And then better yet, once you have these containment pens that are separated, yes, you can set them and forget them kind of thing, and come back to them whenever you need to, but you can also have a smaller pen where you can actually get a better look at the dinosaur before you have to move them and stuff like that. You can see their traits and what's wrong with them, if there is anything wrong with them, if they have disease, stuff like that. And I'm also working on a bunch of other stuff on how we can actually get some good hints, tips, and tricks on how to do little stuff like this. Just like, and if you really think about it, it's not a hard thing to do. You're just building an extra fence. You're building an extra fence and an extra enclosure, and you're just managing which door you open, if it's a carnivore or a herbivore. And that right there will probably save you so much time and stress and anger. But if you're also wanting to make a realistic park, you also got to think, like if you're feeding carnivores, where are these little goat feeders going to come from? Like you just have this, you just plop a goat out of thin air. Well, naturally you would probably have a goat farm somewhere on the island, you know, so that way you can sustain the goat numbers, and that way because if you have a bunch of meat eaters and they're all just eating goat, where are all these goats coming from? That's hundreds of thousands of goats a year. You know what I mean? So like, what would you do? So naturally I would have a goat enclosure and role play like that. You know, that it would add that little extra bit of realism. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I'd like to add, you know, some videos on the channel about that kind of stuff, and what we could do to better utilize your park, how to make it realistic, and also how to cut down on the time, the management, the money, and what better ways you can utilize all the skills at your disposal. Because this game will be an intensive management game. Yes, there's emphasis on dinosaurs and hybrids and stuff like that, but a lot of that's management. Like you need to get a 100% genome completion for a trike. And this Triceratops is going to be looking more and more like a Triceratops the more and more you complete its genome. But essentially, until its genome is complete, you're creating a hybrid the whole way through. So a lot of this stuff is kind of cool to speculate about and to think about. But now we're actually getting into some hardcore hints and tricks of the trade on how you can make your part, you know, better effective, and how you can make the most out of your attractions, and how to make your guests actually happy, while at the same time cutting down on your time, your money, and your stress. So anyways, if you guys like this video, please leave a like, comment down below. If this is your first time to the channel, please subscribe. Turn on the notifications, you know what I'm saying, because we're doing this stuff all the time. Tomorrow we're going to have a Prehistoric Kingdom video. I think it's a time lapse, so that's cool. I appreciate all you guys who showed up to the stream today. That was awesome. You know, I've never really had a live stream like that where I had 7, 8, 9 people just kind of sit there constantly, which is something new to me, and I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate you guys like always, and I'll see you in the comments section.